15 value gems that you can easily find. In the heart of Australia's desert, beneath layers of sandstone that have slept for 100 million years, lies a stone that once silenced the world of collectors. It glows in darkness, bending light into colors no painter could imitate, a living rainbow captured in stone. No one spoke its name. They only called it a miracle of water turned to fire. Its worth, estimated at over $1 million, was not for its size but for the impossible light it holds. If you overlook it, you might never understand how fragile beauty can redefine value. Many collectors have lost fortunes chasing perfection, only to realize that the rarest treasures are often hidden in plain sight, waiting to be recognized by those who still look closely. This is Top 15 Value Gems that you can easily find. A journey into the forgotten layers of the earth, where ordinary stones conceal extraordinary histories. Here, beauty isn't measured by price alone, but by the patience of time and the light it leaves behind. If this is your first time watching Tops, consider subscribing and leaving a like, so you won't miss the subsequent discovery where every gem reveals how the earth once breathed, shimmered, and dreamed beneath our feet. Ranked 15th, Jasper, the archive of Earth's patterns. It begins not with brilliance but with layers. Subtle veins of red, ochre, and moss green sleeping inside ancient stone. Jasper does not glitter, it records. Each band is a sentence in the planet's long diary, each fracture a mark of pressure, heat, and time. Millions of years ago, rivers carried volcanic dust and iron-rich clay into still basins. As they settled, color stacked upon color, iron for red, sulfur for yellow, algae for green, a code of Earth's chemistry written before language itself. To the geologist, Jasper is not art, it is evidence, a climate log sealed in silica. When nature leaves a pattern, humanity calls it meaning. In Mesopotamia, merchants pressed red jasper seals into wet clay, trusting the stone to preserve honesty in trade. In Egypt, priests placed jasper scarabs over the hearts of the dead so the soul would remain truthful in judgment. Across the Indus Valley, bead makers drilled their surface into jewelry carried along Bronze Age routes to Persia and Anatolia. Each culture found in jasper has the same metaphor: endurance. Empires vanished, yet the stone kept rising to the surface. Today, jasper still appears in the open, in the creek beds of Oregon, the mesas of Arizona, the deserts of Australia, and the volcanic plains of Madagascar. No mining shafts, no machinery, just wind, water, and the patient eye of someone willing to kneel and look. When cut and polished, its surface mirrors the world it came from: dunes, rivers, and storm clouds suspended in color. Lapidaries call them picture jaspers, landscapes painted by chance, signed by geology. Rarity sells, repetition survives. On the market, jasper rarely exceeds a few dollars a carat, yet collectors search not for flawless stones, but for stories. They hold slices that resemble maps, remembering deserts and floods older than civilization. Its worth is measured in narrative, not price. In the 1970s, metaphysical traders renamed it the grounding stone, a charm for stability. Ironically, that modern slogan echoes its earliest purpose: an anchor of truth in uncertain exchange. Sculptors return to it for texture, historians for dating artifacts, scientists for stratigraphic proof. Even polished thin under a microscope, jasper refuses to simplify. Its pigments shift like weather on a timeline. Perhaps that is its quiet defiance, to remain complex in a world that prizes clarity. If you've ever held a stone streaked with color and felt compelled to keep it, maybe you've already met jasper. If that realization surprises you, leave a comment. What patterns do you see in the ordinary? But some memories do not unfold in color. Some spiral inward, measuring time not by change, but by repetition. Jasper reminds us that history is not only written on tablets or parchment. Sometimes it is buried in color and waits for light to be noticed again. Ranked 14. Agate, the time within the stone. It looks simple, just bands of color locked inside a rock. But if jasper was the archive of Earth's moods, then agate is its clock, a timepiece built by pressure, silence, and patience. Each ring of agate marks a pause in volcanic breath. When molten lava cooled, pockets of gas were trapped inside. Over thousands of years, silica-rich water entered these hollows again and again, layering mineral after mineral until a stone learned how to count time. Every color band is a heartbeat, a geological metronome that never stops, even after the volcano dies. Agate doesn't glitter. It breathes slowly. Under magnification, its translucent walls show traces of iron, manganese, and titanium drifting in rhythm. A chemical waltz that took millions of years to finish. No two agates share the same sequence. Each is a one-off composition of patience. When nature repeats itself perfectly, humans call it purpose. In the Bronze Age, agate was more than decoration. In Babylonia, seals carved from it symbolized endurance, a promise made in stone. In Greece, physicians wore agate to calm storms and tempers, believing the rings reflected the balance of the mind. And in Persia, poets described it as the eye that never closes, a quiet observer of passing empires. For every civilization that handled agate, it was less an ornament than a reminder that time rewards what waits. To reveal one, you must break open stillness itself. The finest agates today come from Brazil, Uruguay, Botswana, and India. Miners find them sealed inside basalt nodules, gray stones that appear worthless until struck open. Inside lies a miniature cathedral of color, bands in blue, amber, violet, sometimes framing a quartz-lined core that glitters like frost on glass. Lapidaries treat agate with reverence. They follow its geometry rather than forcing design, slicing along natural contours to reveal the story written within. Hardness between 6.5 and 7 on the Mohs scale, durable, resistant to fracture, agate rarely fails. Where diamonds dazzle and opals demand care, agate endures. It was never meant for royalty, it was made for longevity. Its price is small, but its patience is priceless. In modern gem markets, agate rarely exceeds a few dollars a carat, and yet museums display whole slabs as artworks of geology, one painted by the planet's own chemistry. Designers prize it for structure, collectors for serenity. Spiritualists call it the stone of rhythm, saying its pattern steadies the pulse of the one who wears it. The irony is poetic. A gem formed by repetition becomes a cure for restlessness. Those who spend time with it often describe the same feeling, calmness that seems to come from the stone itself. If that idea feels too mystical, look again. Inside each ring is time, pure, slow, circular time. And if that realization catches you off guard, leave a comment. Patience, not rarity, is what truly makes a stone valuable. But not all gems record patience. Some reveal their truth only when the light goes out. Ranked 13th, fluorite, the light that hides itself. It is not rare. You can still find it. Sometimes glittering on a quarry wall after rain, sometimes scattered in gravel near old mine shafts. And yet fluorite remains one of nature's quietest paradoxes, a stone that glows brighter when light disappears. To the eye, it looks simple, green, violet, or clear as glass. But under ultraviolet light, it comes alive, releasing colors the day cannot see. This is the essence of fluorite, beauty revealed through absence, light made visible only in darkness. Its name comes from the Latin fluere, to flow. When miners in Derbyshire, England, first found it centuries ago, they thought it was quartz, until they noticed it helped molten metal move more easily. Later, scientists realized this flow wasn't about movement, but energy. Electrons shifting and returning home, creating the glow we now call fluorescence. From that word, fluorite gave its name to an entire science of light. When light hides, humans search for purpose. In ancient China, powdered fluorite was burned in temple lamps, not for brightness, but for what couldn't be seen. In Rome, emperors drank from cups carved of purple fluorite, said to reveal lies in reflected faces. In Victorian England, collectors kept pieces under glass, calling them ghost stones. Each culture found the same idea: illumination without visibility, truth that requires shadow to appear. It glows in museums, but begins its story in ordinary ground. Fluorite forms in veins beside lead and silver deposits and remains common in England, Mexico, China, Namibia, and Illinois, USA. Walk near an abandoned quarry after rainfall, and you might find cubic fragments glinting pale blue beneath the mud. Collectors often spot them along roadside cuts or old limestone outcrops. Tiny geometric crystals, transparent but perfectly shaped. In Illinois' cave-in rock, entire walls once shimmered with fluorite. And even today, small specimens still wash loose after storms. What museums display under blacklight, nature still leaves on open hillsides. It is perhaps the most accessible miracle of color. Its worth lies not in possession, but perception. Fluorite's market price is modest, rarely more than a few dollars per carat. But gem hunters know no other mineral performs this dance between science and mystery. When the ultraviolet lamp clicks on, the gem answers like memory. A flash, a pulse, a secret that fades as quickly as it came. In jewelry, fluorite is fragile, with a hardness of only 4 on the Mohs scale. Yet artists continue to carve it, chasing that fleeting inner fire. To metaphysical circles, it represents mental clarity, light rediscovered after confusion. To physicists, it remains a key to understanding invisible energy. If you've ever explored an old quarry or cracked open a rock only to find a glow you didn't expect, you've met fluorite. And if that moment surprised you, tell us below. What have you found that shines only in darkness? But while fluorite hides its light within the dark, the next gem was born from darkness itself. Volcanic glass sharper than time, where reflection becomes weapon.
Ranked 12th, Obsidian, the volcanic mirror of fire. Before there were metals, before there were mirrors, there was fire, turned to glass. Obsidian begins where destruction ends. When volcanic lava cools so quickly that crystals have no time to form, the result is a black, flawless glass, sharp enough to cut flesh, smooth enough to reflect a face. Its story is one of reversal, born from eruption, shaped by stillness. Across the world, from Iceland's glaciers to Oregon's lava plains, from the Andes of Peru to the shores of Japan, obsidian lies waiting, dark and silent. It requires no mining. It simply is, scattered across landscapes once torn apart by heat. Even today, hikers find fragments glinting in the dust of ancient flows, reminders that fire once passed this way. In modern laboratories, surgeons use obsidian scalpels, blades thinner than steel, their edges measured at only 3 nanometers. They cut without tearing tissue, a precision unmatched by any metal forged by humankind. Yet this future was already past. Long before iron or bronze, Stone Age hunters shaped obsidian into arrowheads sharper than any tool that followed. Archaeologists still find them buried in caves of Anatolia and New Mexico, their edges unblunted by 10,000 years. To those ancient makers, the stone was more than a weapon. It was a revelation. They saw their own faces reflected in it, the first mirror, born from the same element that could destroy them. To gaze into obsidian was to look into cooled fire, a paradox that became faith. What was once a blade became a portal. In Mesoamerican temples, obsidian was sacred. The Aztecs called it Itztli, the divine stone of Tezcatlipoca, the god whose name means the smoking mirror. Priests used polished obsidian discs for divination, claiming they could see wars not yet fought and kings not yet born. The same glass that drew blood now revealed destiny. In ancient Greece, it was traded as black glass, prized by sailors as a protection against storms. In Japan, it adorned ritual daggers buried with samurai, meant to reflect the warrior's soul rather than his enemies. Even now, the mirrors of fire remain where the volcano left them. Unlike precious gemstones locked in mines, obsidian remains visible, in cooling fields near Mount Hrafntinurigger, Iceland, around Glass Buttes, Oregon, and the Sierra Madre of Mexico. Collectors still trek across these landscapes with little more than sunlight and patience. When sunlight hits the shards just right, obsidian flashes silver, gold, or even rainbow hues, each color formed by trapped gas bubbles, each fragment a remnant of volcanic breath. It is the easiest of treasures to find, and perhaps the hardest to hold. Brittle, dangerous, fragile. Yet even broken, it reflects perfectly. What it shows depends on who dares to look. For gem cutters, obsidian is both art and hazard, a single wrong motion, and the blade draws blood. For historians, it marks the turning point between survival and consciousness. And for anyone who's ever found a piece of it in the dirt, it is a reminder that beauty is often the cooled echo of violence. If you've ever stood near an old lava field and picked up a black shard shining in the sun, you've touched the border between creation and collapse. And if that thought unsettles you, leave a comment below. What would you see if the mirror looked back? The stone lies still. No reflection remains, no fire, no face. Only emptiness, the shape of what once burned. If obsidian was the mirror of fire, the next gem would trap time itself, not in stone, but in resin, where life refused to die.
Ranked 11th. Amber, the memory of the sun. Before humans learned to carve stone, the trees were already making gems. Amber is not a mineral, it is sunlight made solid. Ancient resin hardened over millions of years, a material that began as sap dripping down the bark of extinct forests. Where obsidian was born from fire and cooled in seconds, amber took its shape slowly, drop by drop, until time itself congealed. Every piece of amber is an archive of life. Inside, the air is prehistoric, trapped bubbles from 30, 40, even 100 million years ago. Some hold insects, petals, or strands of fur, creatures and moments preserved in perfect suspension, untouched since dinosaurs walked above them. To hold amber is to hold a moment that never decayed. Humans saw sunlight in stone and called it divine. In ancient Greece, amber was named electron, after the way it pulled feathers and straw when rubbed, a mystery that gave birth to the word electricity. In Rome, it was worth more than enslaved people. Merchants traded it along the Amber Road, from the Baltic coast through Germany to Venice, believing it carried the warmth of the northern sun. Among Baltic tribes, it was worn as protection against storms. In China, it symbolized the soul of the tiger, and in Scandinavia, it was burned in funeral fires so the dead could find their way home. Across continents, amber was more than an ornament. It was proof that light could be held. The sun still leaves its memory where the sea gives it back. Unlike emeralds or sapphires locked in mines, amber drifts freely. After storms, it washes ashore, along the Baltic Sea in Poland and Lithuania, the beaches of Kaliningrad, and even the sands of the Dominican Republic, where locals still find honey-colored pieces hidden among seaweed and shells. Collectors say the best time to search is after rain, when the waves churn the seabed. The lightest pieces float, soft enough to rest on water, warm enough to glow against the palm. No drills, no machines, only patience and sunlight. Sometimes a casual walk becomes a discovery older than cities. For those who know where to look, the earth still offers its oldest photograph. The day a drop of resin decided to remember. It captures what nothing else could. Motion stopped forever. Gem cutters shape amber not by force but by heat, softening its surface to reveal golden clarity beneath the crust. When polished, it radiates a warmth no mineral can match. Its hardness, only 2 to 2.5 on the Mohs scale, makes it fragile. But fragility is its essence. It reminds us that memory itself is delicate. Modern jewelry markets still prize Baltic amber for its purity, while Dominican blue amber, rare and luminous, fetches thousands per piece. Yet the most valuable are not flawless gems, but those with imperfections, a trapped ant, a tiny leaf, a speck of prehistoric dust. If you've ever walked a beach and picked up a piece of amber, you've touched sunlight that never faded. And if that thought stays with you, leave a comment. Tell us what memory you would keep forever if time allowed. If amber held sunlight, the following gem was born from copper's shadow, a blue-green breath rising from abandoned mines. Ranked 10th, Chrysocolla, the breath of copper. Where metal dies, color is born. Chrysocolla grows in places abandoned by fire, in veins where copper once flowed, in mines long forgotten, in stones once burned blue by oxidation. It is not the metal itself, but its memory, a breath the earth releases when the body of copper begins to fade. The first sight of it is deceptive. Turquoise green, soft, earthy, fragile. It forms not deep within the crust, but near the surface, where rain and air meet minerals, and corrosion becomes creation. This is where anyone can still find it, in the tailings of old copper pits in Arizona, Chile, Peru, Israel, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Sometimes a stone picked from the dust carries that unmistakable hue, a fragment of the planet exhaling. It forms where the earth stops breathing, yet it looks like breath itself. When copper reacts with water and carbon dioxide, a transformation begins, one that softens the metal's body into mineral skin. In this fragile state, Chrysocolla appears, a blue-green tissue that coats rock like moss made of light. Unlike malachite or azurite, it rarely forms crystals. It prefers formlessness, layers that dissolve at the touch of water, color that shifts with humidity, structure that resists permanence. It is a gem born from decline, and yet its color suggests renewal. Human hands once chased copper. Now they keep what copper is left behind. In ancient Egypt, Chrysocolla dust was used as pigment for temple murals. Its blue-green tone symbolizes rebirth in Nile water. In Greece, scholars ground it into ink for sacred manuscripts, believing that writing with it invoked truth. And in pre-Columbian South America, miners called it the sleeping metal, a sign that the mountain's heart still breathed beneath the soil. Everywhere it appeared, it marked a place where the earth was resting, not dead, only silent. The humblest veins often hold the truest color. Chrysocolla is common enough to be found by hand, but uncommon in its purity. Collectors search the oxidized crusts of abandoned mines, where the stone peeks through rust and dust, bright, fragile, impossibly alive against the dull metal around it. Gem cutters treat it gently, polishing it into cabochons for pendants and rings, often mixed with quartz to give it strength. A combination called Chrysocolla chalcedony, sold in markets from Tucson to Lima. Though it sells cheaply, its value lies in the message, not the price. That beauty can emerge from decay. For those who find it, Chrysocolla is a reminder that color itself is a form of forgiveness. If you've ever walked past a mine and seen green veins glowing in dry stone, you've seen where copper learned to breathe. And if that thought quiets you, tell us below. Can stillness be a kind of life? No music, no motion, only a close look at the stone's surface. The shimmer fades as light drifts away. The blue remains, but its sound is gone. From the breath of copper to the sky's own blood. The next gem carried the desert's voice and the power of ancient trade. Ranked 9th, Turquoise, the sky's ancient messenger. Long before the sky was mapped, its color had already fallen to earth. Turquoise begins where air meets stone, in deserts once covered by shallow seas, where copper veins and aluminum phosphates slowly fused into a gem, the color of dawn. No gem has traveled farther through time and meaning. To touch turquoise is to touch the memory of the sky itself. It forms near the surface in dry, arid climates, the byproduct of copper oxidation and rainwater seepage. Where others dig for jewels in darkness, turquoise reveals itself in daylight, in the broken crusts of Arizona, New Mexico, Iran, and the Sinai Peninsula. Even now, fragments lie scattered near abandoned mines, their blue veins peeking through dust. Stones that once guided traders, warriors, and kings. In today's world, turquoise is sold in roadside stands across the American Southwest. Tourists hold it as a symbol of freedom in the sky. Yet behind those bracelets lies a lineage 5,000 years old. The Navajo, Zuni, and Hopi peoples called it the breath of the wind, a link between earth and the heavens. They inlaid it into silver, believing it protected travelers from lightning. Even now, Navajo artisans in Gallup, New Mexico, still polish stones from open ground, their methods unchanged since ancestors first traded with Spanish settlers. Further east in Persia, turquoise crown emperors and domes alike. Mosques in Isfahan still shimmer with their glazed imitation, an artificial echo of what the desert once offered freely. And older still, on the Sinai Plateau, Egyptians carved turquoise for the goddess Hathor, patron of love, music, and the sky. The mines they opened 4,000 years ago remain visible, hillsides etched with hand-cut tunnels where sunlight still strikes blue dust. The sky has never hidden itself. It only changed form. Turquoise remains near the surface, a gem for wanderers, not corporations. Rockhounds in Arizona's Sleeping Beauty mine or the Nevada desert still find nodules embedded in brown limestone after storms. Small veins show through broken rock like veins of water in drought. It is the kind of gem anyone can find with patience and eyes trained for color. The rare blue that looks too alive to be stone. The earth still whispers its messenger's hue. Its value was never measured by purity, but by the path it traveled. Pure turquoise, dense, waxy, sky-bright, is rare. Most stones contain veins of host rock, webs that gem dealers call matrix. For centuries, traders valued that imperfection. A visible map of origin, a story written in fracture. In ancient markets, turquoise moved farther than gold. From Egypt to China, from Persia to the Americas, it bridged civilizations that never met, each calling it by a name that meant sky. If you've ever held one in your hand and wondered why its color feels alive, perhaps it's because the stone still remembers what it once was, a fragment of horizon fallen to earth. Leave a comment if you've ever found turquoise in the wild. The sky may still speak to those who look down instead of up. If turquoise carried the voice of the sky, the following gem answered it, a crystal so clear that light itself chose to live inside. Ranked 8th, quartz, the heart of clarity. The clearer the stone, the more it hides. Quartz is everywhere, in sand, in mountains, in the dust beneath your feet. It is so common that most people stop seeing it, and yet it is the foundation of nearly every precious gem. What the world calls rare is only quartz transformed. Amethyst, citrine, rose, and smoky, all born from the same structure of silicon and oxygen. But the purest form, clear quartz, holds a different paradox. It seems empty, yet it contains everything. A mineral without color, but not without memory. To the naked eye, it is clarity. To a scientist, it is chaos organized into light. The stones most people overlook are the ones most likely to be found. Hike any mountain trail in Arkansas, sift through riverbeds in Brazil, or explore the alpine valleys of Switzerland, and you'll find quartz shining from the soil, sometimes transparent, sometimes smoky, sometimes clouded with ghost-like inclusions. It forms in cavities of granite, cooling slowly from molten magma, and grows toward open space like frost reaching for air. Unlike emeralds or rubies trapped in bedrock, quartz often reveals itself without effort. It's one of the few gems the earth leaves in plain sight, the most democratic of treasures. Humans gave names to what light had already written. In ancient Japan, clear quartz was called the frozen breath of dragons. Greek philosophers believed it was eternal ice, a shard of mountain snow that would never melt. For Romans, it became crystal, from crystallos, meaning permanent frost. And for indigenous peoples of North America, smoky quartz symbolized grounded thought, the balance between clarity and shadow. Quartz did not need translation. Every culture recognized its silence. Clarity became a tool long before it became a jewel. In the ancient world, quartz was carved into spheres and lenses, used to start fires by focusing sunlight, and later to magnify sacred texts. In the 20th century, it became the pulse of machines, Its internal vibrations measured time in watches and stabilized radio waves. The same crystal that guided priests now governs satellites, but its meaning never changed. Quartz is still a conduit of energy, of vision, of light through matter. It bridges myth and measurement. When perfection darkens, truth becomes visible. Smoky quartz forms under radiation, its clear lattice stained by the Earth's own breath. Its color, from pale brown to deep charcoal, reminds us that even clarity gains strength through imperfection. Collectors find it in the Cairngorm Mountains of Scotland and the Colorado Rockies, where veins run through ancient granite like veins of memory. Each stone is a different shade of silence. If you've ever picked up a piece of quartz on a hike, clear or smoky, you've already held one of the planet's oldest reflections. And if that moment felt unexplainably calm, perhaps clarity was never about transparency, but about stillness. Leave a comment below. Do you see purity in what's clear or truth in what's clouded? Where quartz revealed the world's light, the next gem will capture its warmth. The crystal that turns sunlight into gold. Ranked 7th. Citrine, the stone of golden fortune. It looks like sunlight, but it's born from heat. Citrine is not gold, yet for centuries it was mistaken for it. It is quartz, the same mineral as amethyst and rock crystal, but transformed by fire. What begins purple ends in amber. What begins cold ends in warmth. Its story is an inversion of color and meaning. Light created not by purity, but by pressure. When volcanoes breathe heat into veins of amethyst, iron atoms inside the crystal rearrange themselves, turning violet to gold. Nature, without warning, performs alchemy, and so the gem of patience becomes the stone of prosperity. Where there was once violet, there may still be gold. Citrine forms in shallow veins and pegmatite pockets, found in Brazil, Madagascar, Uruguay, Russia, and Colorado. Rock hunters still find yellow quartz crystals in riverbeds and weathered granite slopes, sometimes natural, sometimes amethyst turned by the sun. The easiest way to find citrine is to follow the heat, places where ancient lava cooled slowly, where quartz veins open to the air. Its name comes from citrus for its lemon hue, but its tone can shift from pale champagne to deep honey. Each crystal holds a record of how much warmth the earth gave it. Humans saw light in stone and called it luck. In ancient Greece, merchants carried citrine as a charm against poverty. In Rome, it adorned the rings of senators, believed to sharpen judgment. In the Middle Ages, healers called it the merchant's gem, a stone that gathered sunlight and released it as fortune. Across China and Tibet, monks carved it into talismans, its yellow color symbolizing wisdom, the middle path between greed and loss. Its glow never needed polish. Even uncut, it looked alive. Its beauty was never rare, only overlooked. In today's gem market, natural citrine is common, but much of what is sold began life as amethyst, heat-treated, replicating nature's slow fire in an electric furnace. Collectors can still tell the difference. Natural citrine glows softly like afternoon light, while artificial stones burn too bright, too even. Its price remains modest, yet its energy is universal. It is one of the few gemstones both jewelers and geologists can agree upon. A reminder that value is not rarity, but the story of transformation. Gold from fire, clarity from heat. Everything bright begins as something burned. If you've ever found a yellow crystal in a river or hillside, you've held the earth's quiet experiment in sunlight. Citrine asks no worship, promises no wealth. It simply proves that beauty is not born, but reheated. Leave a comment below. Which do you value more? What is natural or what endures? If citrine turned heat into gold, the next gem would trap lightning itself, a fossil of thunder that once struck the sea. Ranked 6th. Sunstone, the crystal of solar flame. It burns without heat and shines without mercy. Sunstone carries the illusion of fire, but within it there is no flame. What glitters inside this feldspar crystal is not combustion, but reflection. Copper and hematite flakes align by chance. each one catching light and throwing it back as a starburst. To the naked eye, it's as if sunlight were trapped beneath glass, a gem that seems to breathe even in darkness. The paradox is simple. It radiates because it cannot burn. The sunstone hides not in heaven, but in the dust. Unlike gold or diamond buried deep, sunstone often lies near the surface, in Oregon's lava plains, on dry lakes of Norway's fjords, and in the red soils of Tanzania and India. Collectors find it in weathered basalt, its copper glint revealing itself only when sunlight hits at an angle. The best stones come from the Oregon outback, where the Earth's crust split open millions of years ago, and volcanic glass cooled slowly enough for metallic sparks to form. No machinery is needed, just a sifter, patience, and the right morning light. That's the magic of sunstone, the only gem that rewards those who look directly into the sun. When people couldn't reach the sun, they began to wear it. The Vikings are said to have used it as a sun compass, a way to locate the sun through polar haze, its internal shimmer polarizing light like a natural lens. In ancient India, it symbolized Surya, the god whose chariot carried daylight across the heavens. And in Native American lore, sunstone was believed to hold the blood of warriors, the spark of courage that never cooled. Across all civilizations, one truth repeats: the stone didn't just shine, it guided. Its value lies not in how it burns, but in how it endures. Gem dealers prize sunstone for aventurescence, the metallic glitter that moves beneath its surface like liquid light. But in the open fields of Oregon, anyone can still find it. It doesn't require a mine, only motion, a turn of the wrist, a glance of sunlight, and copper flares come alive. Natural sunstone sells modestly, yet collectors know no other gem that plays with light so honestly. It does not pretend to glow. It simply returns what it receives. Perhaps that is why it's often mistaken for optimism. A crystal that doesn't chase the sun, but reflects it to the world. If you've ever walked across red soil and caught a spark beneath your feet, you've already seen it. The sun folded into stone. The shimmer fades. The crystal no longer glows, yet the afterimage lingers behind the eyelids, as if the stone had borrowed your vision to keep shining on its own. No words follow, only light, remembering where it came from. If sunstone mirrored the sky's fire, the next gem would contain the sea's soul. A blue so deep, even light forgot to return. Ranked fifth, Moonstone, the whisper of the goddess. It holds the light not of day, but of memory. Moonstone doesn't shine, it breathes. Its glow is not reflection, not fluorescence, but an illusion. Light scattered between layers of feldspar, trapped in microscopic sheets that shift like clouds across water. This is a dualiscence, a shimmer that moves when the stone moves, a ghost of the moon traveling across solid ground. To the eye, it looks alive. To the hand, it feels like calm turned to mineral. It hides not in darkness, but in the pale dust of mountains. Moonstone forms in feldspar veins, born from the same magma that created granite. Unlike gems that demand mines, it lies near the surface, waiting in riverbeds or embedded in weathered rock across Sri Lanka, India, Madagascar, and Tanzania. In the Balangota hills of Sri Lanka, villagers still pick it from clay after monsoon rains wash away the soil. No dynamite, no shafts, only patience, sunlight, and the knowledge of where the moon once touched the earth. When light began to move, humans saw a spirit. In ancient Rome, Moonstone was believed to hold frozen moonlight, a fragment of Diana's veil, the goddess of night and birth. In India, it became the stone of lovers, said to reveal genuine emotions when placed under a full moon. And in Tibet, monks placed it in temple altars, believing it contained the stillness of the mind after meditation. Each civilization found the same whisper, a quiet voice within the glow, reminding them that reflection is not emptiness, but presence made gentle. Its color is not white, but patience. Under daylight, Moonstone looks dull, gray, sometimes milky, sometimes nearly opaque, but tilt it once, and a blue flame passes through the surface. Not constant, not predictable, like the moon through clouds. Gem cutters call this play of light, but it's more like breathing. It disappears the moment you stare too long. The finest stones come from Sri Lanka, glowing silver blue like quiet lightning, while Indian moonstone carries a softer warmth, the hue of dawn rather than night. Though not rare, every piece feels singular, a small, living silence shaped by time. It's the only stone that looks back without seeing. Moonstone doesn't reveal, it listens. Its surface never shows the viewer's face clearly. Only light bends around the absence. Perhaps that is why it has long been a gem of intuition, not vision. If you've ever picked up a pale stone under moonlight and felt it shift in color, you've met Moonstone. If that moment felt too soft to describe, leave a comment below. What did it whisper to you? The light fades, but the shimmer lingers like breath on glass. No sound, no conclusion, only reflection, and then stillness. If Moonstone carried the light of reflection, the next gem would bear the weight of fire, forged in pressure so deep even time had to yield. Ranked fourth, Peridot, the ember of the earth. Every flame leaves an ember, even the ones born beneath the earth. Peridot is what fire becomes when it cools too slowly to die. A gem that forms not in silence, but in heat so ancient it predates the continents. Its green glow is not surface color, but a deep origin, the residue of magma frozen mid-breath. Most gemstones come from pressure. Peridot comes from release. It is forged in molten rock, rising through volcanic vents until it reaches the air, where the last breath of fire hardens into crystal. When a volcano rests, it leaves its heart behind. Unlike emerald, which hides deep within metamorphic rock, Peridot often lies in plain sight. In Arizona's San Carlos Apache Reservation, locals still pick green crystals from the surface of cooled basalt, small fragments of the mantle carried upward from 20 miles below the crust. In Hawaii, Peridot rains from the sky, tiny olive grains scattered across the volcanic sand. Locals call it Pele's tears, after the goddess of fire who wept molten glass. In Egypt's Red Sea island of Zabergad, ancient miners once climbed jagged cliffs under moonlight to extract it, believing sunlight itself slept inside the stone. It is one of the few gems you can find with bare hands, a relic of the planet's own furnace. Before humans smelted copper or forged bronze, they wore the Earth's cooled fire. Peridot's history stretches back more than 3,000 years. The Egyptians called it the gem of the sun and carved it into amulets for protection during night voyages. Crusaders later brought it to Europe, believing it could banish fear and envy. In Hawaii, it symbolized volcanic breath, not destruction, but renewal. Through all its migrations, one idea remained, that warmth could survive in stone. Its color is not the green of forests, but of heat reborn. Unlike emerald's deep shadowed tone, Peridot glows golden green, a hue visible even at night, its internal light refusing to fade. Gem dealers call it an evening emerald because it shines brightest under artificial light. It never needed perfection. Its inclusions only prove its volcanic birth. And though it is neither rare nor costly, its presence carries the honesty of origin. In a world that worships rarity, Peridot is the gem that admits it is common, yet still burns. Every piece is a fossil of fire, every sparkle a heartbeat of the planet before continents cooled. If you've ever found a green crystal in dark volcanic rock, you've held the echo of Earth's creation. Hold it long enough and its warmth feels faintly alive, not from energy, but from memory. Leave a comment below. Would you call this gem common or eternal? If Peridot was the ember of the earth, the next gem was lightning captured in stone, a crystal born from impact, where sky and ground collided. Ranked third, Garnet, the heart of fire. It burns quietly, the fire that never left the stone. Long before rubies ruled crowns, there was garnet, the original red that humans dared to polish. It wasn't luxury, it was survival. When volcanoes cooled and mountains folded, garnet crystallized in their scars, small dark hearts of iron-rich magma. Its glow is unmistakable, Not the sharp brilliance of diamond, but a pulse, like embers still breathing under ash. Where mountains break, fire bleeds through. Garnet forms where pressure and heat collide. In Idaho and New York, prospectors still find it scattered in stream beds, blood-red grains flashing through black sand. In Sri Lanka, locals wash river gravel and pick the red sparks by hand. And in Czech Bohemia, small mines still produce the deep wine-colored stones that once lined royal insignias. Even uncut, garnet reveals itself. Its fractured surface already glows. A gemstone for those who search, not those who buy. Before it was jewelry, it was protection. Ancient Egyptians buried soldiers with garnet on their chests, the heart returning to the earth's flame. Romans wore it in signet rings, sealing letters with wax the color of blood. In medieval Europe, it guarded travelers against poison and wounds. Even today, the word garnet comes from granatum, the pomegranate, a symbol of life reborn through sacrifice. The deeper the red, the older the flame. Unlike ruby's single hue, garnet is a family: almandine, pyrope, spessartine, grossular, and more, each born from a different balance of iron, magnesium, and time. Some glow crimson, others orange, green, or even black. It is the most democratic of gems, found in jewelry, in sand, in the very dust that built continents. Its worth has never been measured by carat, but by endurance. A garnet polished 4,000 years ago still shines today, its fire untouched. Follow it backward, and every sparkle leads to pressure, every glow to a wound in the earth. From necklaces in museums to uncut crystals in mountain streams, each garnet is the same story reversed. A moment when the planet exhaled heat and froze its breath into red. If you've ever held one between your fingers, you've touched the memory of volcanic time. Leave a comment below. Does it feel warm, or are you only feeling what's left of fire? If garnet was the Earth's heart still burning, the next gem was the sky's frozen breath. Clear, unbreakable, and born where pressure met eternity. Ranked second, opal, the flame within water. It is fire made of rain. Opal is born from contradiction, a gemstone where light learns to rest and water refuses to vanish. Unlike other gems that grow in the heart of fire or pressure, opal forms in silence, drop by drop when rainwater seeps into the earth, carrying silica through clay and sandstone, then slowly hardening into glass that remembers color. Its surface looks soft, but inside the world's spectrum folds and breathes, each hue suspended like flame beneath water. Everywhere water once lingered, color might remain. Common opal, often milk white or pastel pink, is found in shallow layers of Ethiopia, Mexico, and Nevada, where ancient rainfall dried before sinking too deep. Miners and travelers can still uncover it in dry gullies or clay beds, where the soil cracks open and glints faintly under the sun. But precious opal, the kind that shimmers with rainbows, forms when silica spheres align perfectly, a structure so fragile that one tremor can shatter it. Australia's Lightning Ridge and Coober Pedy hold these miracles, stones that capture lightning inside stillness. Yet both kinds share the exact origin, the patience of rain. Humans saw the first opal and mistook it for trapped light. In ancient Rome, opal was called opalus, the stone that contained all others. Arabs believed it fell from the sky with lightning. For Aboriginal Australians, each flash of color marked the creator's footsteps across the desert, rainbows embedded in the sand. And in medieval Europe, opal's shifting hues were seen as deception, a beauty too unpredictable to trust. Every myth agreed on one thing: opal did not reflect light, it spoke it. Its fire is not inside, it lives in between. Under sunlight, opal changes constantly. Red turns to green, blue to violet, and then vanishes when the angle shifts. The fire you see isn't pigment, but interference, light bending between perfectly ordered silica spheres. That's why every opal is singular. Each pattern is a fossil of a single rainfall, a map of the Earth's breathing in a forgotten storm. Even common opal, though lacking color play, carries that ghost of movement, a dull sheen, a calm glow. the final shimmer of vanished rain. Collectors and scientists both agree. No gem expresses impermanence more honestly than opal, the stone that burns without heat and shines only when you move. To hold opal is to watch contradiction live. It looks solid, yet behaves like water. It glows, yet never burns. Even its value refuses to stay still. Common, precious, priceless, fragile. If you've ever found a pale stone after rain and seen color shimmer across its surface, you've already met opal. Leave a comment below. Is it fire pretending to be calm, or calm pretending to be fire? If opal were the flame within water, the final gem would be eternity itself, light captured in its purest, unbroken form. In first place, amethyst, the stone of clarity and spirit, the color of calm, born from the heart of fire. Amethyst stands at the edge between the physical and the sacred. Its violet hue, once mistaken for royal dye, once feared for its purity. It isn't merely color, it's a memory of heat turned still. When volcanic gas chambers cooled too slowly, iron atoms aligned within quartz. And in that slow crystallization, violet appeared, a color the earth invented to describe serenity. The rarest truths are often easiest to find. Despite its regal reputation, amethyst is abundant. In Brazil, Uruguay, and Madagascar, entire cave walls glitter violet like frozen dusk. In the U.S., it lies quietly inside geodes in Arizona and Georgia, waiting to be split open by a curious hand. It forms where lava once cooled gently, a whisper left in stone. No mine too deep, no machine required, only patience and the courage to break open a dull rock and reveal a cathedral of light. When the world discovered its color, it invented restraint. In ancient Greece, the stone was said to guard against intoxication. Its name, amethystos, means not drunk. Priests of Egypt carved it into talismans to calm anger. Romans wore it to preserve clarity during battle. For Buddhist monks, it represented detachment, the mind unclouded by desire. Its color came to embody discipline, the equilibrium between passion and peace. And when kings wore it in crowns, it was not to boast power, but to remind themselves to master it. What looks divine is only science performed slowly. Amethyst is simply quartz, tinted by iron and time. Yet the slightest variance in heat can turn it yellow, into citrine, or colorless again. It is the same gem in three temperaments: heat, patience, and surrender. Gemologists call it a geological coincidence, but perhaps that's the point. The universe repeating a truth in mineral form, that clarity is not the absence of chaos, but its alignment. Follow the violet backward, and you reach the breath of earth before language. Before names, before gods, it was only gas cooling in silence. And in that silence, color formed. The hue of meditation before the mind existed. A memory too old to be sacred, too simple to be forgotten. Today, amethyst sits in jewelry, in pocket stones, in windowsills catching dawn. But it is still the same crystal that cooled millions of years ago, still whispering restraint to those who listen. If you've ever picked up a purple stone and felt it slow your thoughts, you've heard what the earth once said to itself. The final frame holds on a single amethyst geode, violet light filling its hollow heart. No narration, only quiet. The fire is gone, but still glowing. As the final light fades, one truth remains. The earth has never stopped creating. Each of these 15 stones began as dust, pressure, and silence. Yet each became a fragment of time that learned how to shine. They were never meant to be hidden behind glass or locked in museums. They belong to the wanderers who still search rivers after rain, who kneel in the dust and recognize a shimmer for what it is, a memory of fire, or water, or both. That may be why gemstones fascinate us. They are the earth's way of remembering itself. And every time you hold one, you're holding a heartbeat that hasn't stopped for 1 billion years. If this journey through the earth's hidden light has left you curious, join Tops for the next story. Another world waiting just beneath the surface. Until then, let the stones speak and let the silence shine.